Afghanistan is a country in South-Central Asia with a very long and complex history. It lies at the crossroads of the Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia. Because of this position, it has always been a meeting place of different peoples, cultures, and religions. For thousands of years, traders, travelers, and armies passed through this land. Afghanistan's story is filled with both greatness and tragedy. It is a story of strong people who have faced many invasions, wars, and challenges, but have never lost their desire for freedom and independence. People have lived in Afghanistan for more than 4,000 years. In ancient times, the region was home to farming communities and was part of early civilizations connected to the Indus Valley and Persia. Because of its location between large empires, Afghanistan became an important part of the Silk Road, a famous trade route that connected China, India, and Europe. Traders carried silk, spices, gold, and other goods through the mountains and deserts of Afghanistan. Around 500 BC, the Persian Empire ruled much of the land that is now Afghanistan. Later, in about 330 BC, Alexander the Great from Greece invaded and conquered the region during his campaign to India. After his death, Greek and local cultures mixed together, and small kingdoms rose and fell. Ancient cities like Balkh and Herat became centers of trade and learning, known for their art and philosophy. In the 7th century, Arab armies brought Islam to Afghanistan. The people gradually accepted Islam, and it became the main religion of the land. Over time, Islam shaped the country's culture, traditions, and way of life. Afghanistan became part of the Islamic world and an important center for scholars and traders. During the 9th to the 13th centuries, several strong Muslim empires ruled Afghanistan. One of the most famous was the Ghaznavid Empire, with its capital in Ghazni. The Ghaznavid ruler, Mahmud of Ghazni, expanded his empire into India and made Ghazni a wealthy and cultured city filled with poets, scientists, and artists. Later, other dynasties such as the Ghurids, Timurids, and Mughals controlled different parts of Afghanistan. During these centuries, cities like Herat became famous for their beautiful buildings, fine art, and learning centers. Afghan culture blended influences from Persia, India, and Central Asia. In the 13th century, Afghanistan faced terrible destruction when the Mongols invaded under the leadership of Genghis Khan. Many cities were destroyed, and countless people were killed. After the Mongol period, various local rulers and tribes fought for control. Despite being ruled by different empires and invaders, the Afghan people developed a strong sense of identity and independence. They were known for their courage, their tribal unity, and their refusal to accept foreign control. Afghanistan became a place where outsiders could enter, but rarely remain in power for long. The modern history of Afghanistan began in the 18th century. In 1747, a leader named Ahmad Shah Durrani united the Afghan tribes and established the Durrani Empire. He became the first king of modern Afghanistan and is often called the father of the nation. Under Ahmad Shah's rule, Afghanistan became a strong regional power, including lands that are now parts of Iran, Pakistan, and India. He made Kandahar the capital and worked to unite the different tribes under one flag. After his death, the empire weakened as his successors fought among themselves. However, his creation of a united Afghan state laid the foundation for the modern country that still exists today. During the 19th century, Afghanistan's location between two powerful empires, the British in India and the Russians in Central Asia, made it a center of rivalry. This struggle between Britain and Russia was known as the Great Game. Both empires wanted influence in Afghanistan because of its strategic position. Britain wanted to prevent Russia from getting closer to India, while Russia wanted access to the warm waters of the Indian Ocean. Afghanistan became a buffer zone between the two powers, leading to 3 major wars between Britain and Afghanistan. The First Anglo-Afghan War took place from 1839 to 1842, when the British invaded Afghanistan to replace its king with one who would support them. The invasion failed badly, and almost the entire British army was destroyed when it tried to retreat from Kabul. The Second Anglo-Afghan War happened between 1878 and 1880. This time, Britain tried again to control Afghanistan's foreign policy, but Afghan resistance was fierce. Eventually, a peace deal allowed Britain to manage Afghanistan's foreign affairs, while the country kept its independence in internal matters. The Third Anglo-Afghan War began in 1919, led by King Amanullah Khan, who wanted full independence. The war ended quickly, and the Treaty of Rawalpindi gave Afghanistan complete control over its foreign affairs. From that time, Afghanistan was recognized as an independent country, and August 19, 1919 is celebrated as Afghanistan's Independence Day. King Amanullah Khan tried to modernize Afghanistan by introducing schools for boys and girls, new laws, and a modern constitution. He wanted to bring progress to the country and give women more rights. However, his reforms faced strong opposition from traditional and religious leaders who believed the changes were happening too quickly and against Islamic traditions. In 1929, a rebellion forced him to leave the throne, and Afghanistan returned to more conservative rule. Later, other kings ruled the country, including King Zahir Shah, who ruled for 40 years from 1933 to 1973. His rule is remembered as a time of relative peace. Afghanistan remained neutral during World War II and began to develop slowly. The government built roads, hospitals, and schools. In 1964, Zahir Shah introduced a new constitution that allowed some democratic practices. Still, most people were poor, and tribal divisions remained a problem. In 1973, King Zahir Shah's cousin, Dawood Khan, overthrew him in a coup and declared Afghanistan a republic. Dawood wanted to modernize the country quickly and reduce dependence on foreign powers. However, in 1978, he was overthrown and killed by communist officers supported by the Soviet Union in what was called the Sour Revolution. The new communist government made major changes such as land redistribution and promoting women's rights. But many Afghans, especially in rural areas, saw these reforms as un-Islamic and against their traditions. Soon, uprisings began across the country. In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan to support the communist government. This invasion started a long and bloody war that lasted 10 years. Afghan fighters, called Mujahideen, resisted the Soviet forces using guerrilla warfare. They were supported by the United States, Pakistan, and other countries that provided money, weapons, and training. The war caused immense suffering. Cities and villages were destroyed. Millions of Afghans became refugees in Pakistan and Iran, and about 1 million people were killed. In 1989, after 10 years of fighting, the Soviet Union withdrew its troops. However, Afghanistan was left in ruins, and the civil war continued among different Mujahideen groups. After the Soviets left, Afghanistan fell into chaos as rival warlords fought for power. The capital, Kabul, was heavily damaged by fighting. In this period of disorder, a new group called the Taliban emerged in 1994. Most of them were young religious students from Islamic schools in Pakistan. They promised to end corruption, restore order, and enforce Islamic law. Many people, tired of war, welcomed them at first. By 1996, the Taliban had captured most of the country, including Kabul. They established a strict Islamic government, imposing very harsh laws. Women were banned from working and going to school, and people were forced to follow very strict rules. The Taliban also gave shelter to Osama bin Laden and his group, Al-Qaeda, which later carried out the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks in the United States. After the 9/11 attacks, the United States demanded that the Taliban hand over Osama bin Laden, but they refused. In October 2001, the U.S. and its allies invaded Afghanistan. Within weeks, the Taliban government was removed, and a new democratic government was formed with international support. Hamid Karzai became the first president, followed later by Ashraf Ghani. The new government, with help from Western countries, worked to rebuild Afghanistan. Schools reopened, especially for girls, and women began working again. Billions of dollars were spent on rebuilding the country's infrastructure, roads, hospitals, and institutions. However, corruption remained a major issue, and the Taliban continued to fight against Afghan and international forces. Despite 20 years of effort, peace remained fragile. In 2020, after long negotiations, the United States signed a peace deal with the Taliban and agreed to withdraw its troops. When the U.S. and NATO forces began leaving in 2021, the Taliban quickly advanced across the country. By August 2021, they had captured Kabul again without much fighting. The Afghan government collapsed, and President Ashraf Ghani fled the country. The Taliban returned to power after 20 years. They promised to rule more moderately, but many of their policies remained strict, especially concerning women's rights. Girls were again banned from attending high school and university, and women were restricted from working in many professions. The economy suffered badly, and millions of Afghans faced poverty and hunger. Today, Afghanistan continues to face many challenges. The country's economy is weak, unemployment is high, and many people depend on international aid to survive. Droughts and natural disasters make life even harder. Many Afghans have left the country in search of safety and better opportunities. Yet, despite all the struggles, the Afghan people remain strong and proud. They are known for their courage, hospitality, and love for their land. They have survived countless invasions and wars and continue to hope for peace and a better future for their children. In conclusion, the history of Afghanistan is a story of endurance, strength, and hope. From ancient empires to modern struggles, Afghanistan has always been a place of great importance and resilience. It has faced foreign invasions, civil wars, and political turmoil. Yet its people have never given up their desire for freedom and independence. The country's long and difficult journey shows how deeply the Afghan spirit values pride, honor, and survival. Though Afghanistan faces many challenges today, its rich history and the determination of its people give hope that one day it will rise again as a peaceful and united nation.